Hello and welcome to the next in a series of videos that we're producing on the subject of metal trunking. In previous videos we've looked at different accessories and how to connect them to metal trunking, but what we're going to be looking at now, Jake?
So we're going to take a look at drilling trunking. Often we're going to need to perhaps a couple of accessories to trunking or drop down in conduit to accessories. So we're going to look at drilling the trunking and different ways we can do that as well.
Fantastic. So we're going to consider 3 different ways that we can put holes into trunking. You may come across all of these in your working life, and of course we want to hear from you which one you think is the best. So we're going to bring the camera in nice and close and we're going to have a look at these 3 different methods. Okay then, Jake, so what have we got on the bench in front of us here?
So we've got our 100 by 50mm trunking and we're going to drill a few holes in this using 3 different methods.
Okay, and they are?
The first being a hole saw, traditional hole saw.
Excellent.
Next is a step cutter.
Very good, we love both of those methods, like you say, quite traditional methods.
Yep, and the last one is the Milwaukee hole punch.
Oh, excellent. Now we all love a ridiculously overpowered tool, so we're going to enjoy seeing the results that this produces. And are we going to go for the same size hole in every case there, Jake?
We are, we'll go for 20mm, yeah.
Very good. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all?
So we've got our block of wood, so let's take this over to the vise and start drilling. So we've got our trunking in the vise, Joe, with the wood keeping it secure, and we've made sure to keep that wood right up against the top of the trunking to stop that any movement when we're drilling.
Excellent, that's going to make it easier and more accurate, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's good. Okay, so we're going to go for the hole saw, so we'll get that set up first.
Method, so I'll get this in just a minute, Joe. Will I just do something?
What's going on there, Jake?
Nothing.
No, come on, this is an educational video. What's happening with this hole saw?
Well, there's just the plastic not being removed out of this hole saw, but it definitely wasn't me anyway.
So whoever used this last has left a little piece of plastic in there for us to get out, yeah? An object lesson.
Someone's forgot to do that.
Someone's forgot to do that, yeah.
Sure it wasn't me anyway.
Just trying to think, that looks like an awful lot like that's come out the back of an outdoor socket, Jake. So you won't know anything about that?
No, nothing about an outdoor socket, no. Don't think I've done one of them.
Installed in a previous video on a series of conduit, maybe?
Yeah, maybe that. I think I must have got Gary to do that bit.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's all right.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, very good. So we've got the drill set up now with the hole saw in it, and we're ready to start punching some holes into this piece of trunking. Okay.
Yep. So I'll mark a hole, put a mark on the trunking for me to drill. I'm not going to be precise about anything, purely for demonstrational purposes.
Very good. Okay. So this one, we've got the pilot drill mounted into the hole saw. So do you prefer just going straight in with that pilot drill? You don't prefer drilling another hole first?
No, I'm happy to go in with that. It's sharp enough. It's a good drill bit.
Yeah,
we'll go ahead. Sorry, Joe. We'll go ahead and put some cooling gel on there.
Very nice. And of course, the good thing about having this block of wood in here means that when you go through with that pilot drill, you're not going to sort of go through and then jam the hole saw in, which does happen from time to time. Okay, so cooling gel applied. Let's do it. Very good. Okay, so we've gone through there pretty quickly with that, in fairness. And again, you don't have to use the drill on the top speed, do you, in order to get that through? No, sometimes using a lower speed is better. So just give me some observation about this hole that we've drilled here, Jake. So what we've got going on around it?
Yeah, so nice and quick. We're not worried about drilling through the wood as well.
Yep.
But we do have some sharp edges after drilling with a hole saw, so we need to get rid of those.
Yeah, so it produced quite a bit of swarf, those little metal shavings there, and we've left a sharp edge on the outside and the inside. So what's this tool we're using now, bud?
Yep, so we've got a deburring tool here.
Very nice.
To get rid of any sharp edges.
So when using this kind of deburring tool, you need to apply that little bit of pressure on the outside. You can actually see those little shavings coming off, and that's going to leave us with a nice smooth hole on the outside. Obviously we need to do the same on the inside as well, but we'll do that once we've drilled all the holes and taken the block of wood out. There you go, that's nice and smooth on the outside now. Okay then, Jake, so we've put our first 20mm hole through there using the hole saw, and that was a nice straightforward process. What's the next method that we're going to look at?
So the next method we'll look at is the step cutter, and I've got that in the drill ready.
That's good, so that's all ready to go. But I couldn't help but notice when we were setting up here that we've got a slightly different block of timber here, and now we've got quite a large gap between the timber and the top of the trunking. So explain that to me, bud.
Yeah, that's right. Just for this method, I've swapped it out for a smaller bit of wood, just because the step cutter is so long. We'll be drilling through that entire block of wood in this case.
Okay, and we don't want to be doing that because that's a waste of energy, and it's not going to do the step cutter any good. Okay.
So the big difference with these two really is the hole saw is only cutting the circumference of the hole, so it's actually just cutting out the hole.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we're only it's the width of the blade, the teeth there on the hole saw.
Yeah, it's not actually cutting away the whole of the metal, whereas using the step cutter method, it does have to cut away all the metal, so it's a bit more less efficient.
Yeah, so to get that 20mm hole, we're actually losing all that material. All that material is going to be cut away by the edge of this. That makes sense.
So I'll apply a bit of cooling gel to the area again.
So we'll get that on there, and then we'll start the drilling process. So we'll get that volleyed in.
There we go.
Okay, so we've
bits there.
we've got that hole in there. Now, how did you know when to stop there, Jake? Because you've drilled a 20mm hole, but I kind of lost track of how wide the hole was. So how did you know when you were at 20mm?
Yeah, so to save me plenty of time stopping and starting again and checking what size hole I'm at, I've marked the 20mm.
Oh, okay.
With a blue line all the way around there.
Very nice. And actually, so there's little numbers on the inside of there as well. Yeah. Ah, brilliant, yeah. But like you say, when it's spinning, you can't see that. So yeah, top tip there, just put a little blue mark on your cutter there, and you know when you've finished. So that's really good. And as for the state of the hole, what have we got going on here? It looks a bit smoother on the outside than the hole from the hole saw.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth on the outside compared to the hole saw, to be honest, but there still could be some sharp edges. So again, we'll just go ahead and deburr this.
Yeah, and I think again, you're probably going to find that on the inside of there, you're going to have some of those sharp edges. So again, once we've finished on the outside here, we'll have a look at sorting out the inside material. Very good. Okay, so that's our second method using the step cutter. Okay, and now we're going to move on and look at what's probably the most fun method.
Yeah.
Okay then, Jake, so we've drilled those first two holes nice and neatly using what we'd probably refer to as traditional methods. However, what we're going to do now is use something a little different. So what's this next method?
Yep, so we're going to use the Milwaukee hole punch next.
Nice. Okay, so we love an overpowered power tool, and that's exactly what we're looking at here.
So the first thing we need to do is we need to drill a 12mm hole to use this. So we're going to go ahead and do that with a step cutter. I think in the data sheet for this, it's actually an 11.1mm hole, but of course we can't get 11.1mm drill bit.
No, I think 11.1mm. I think it's something like 7/16 of an inch or something. I think it's some imperial sizing there, which may explain why it's such an odd size to our English ears. So we're going to use the step cutter first.
That's right, and Gary and Gordon have done a previous video on the Milwaukee hole punch as well, by the way, so go and watch that if you get a chance.
Yeah, they give a much more detailed breakdown of that tool in here, don't they? So it's a good video to watch. Actually, I'm sure Gordon will leave a link somewhere.
So again, I've marked the 12mm step on the step cutter.
Very nice. So again, that saves you stopping all the time to see if you're at the right one.
There we go.
One of the things I do like about the step cutter is that it's kind of got that kind of shoulder in between the two edges, which leads to that kind of automatic chamfering effect in a lot of cases, which is quite nice. But here we're just using it to achieve that initial hole. So talk us through the hole punch process now, Jake.
That's right. So insert the 20mm over the ball pull.
Very good.
Inserts into there.
Excellent.
Spin the guard over that.
That's great. So that's just like a quick release mechanism, isn't it? There is another way of doing this.
That drops in.
And then the idea is with this is that this top bit kind of acts like a kind of a resting die on the back of there. And then underneath here, you've got the actual bit that does the cutting.
Yeah.
So once you've just got that tightened up, we'll be able to see that on the underside. And you can see that's got that kind of sharp edge in there. But if you watch carefully, you'll see how that performs. Lovely. You can see there, I mean, that just absolutely ate that up. That pulled that in really nice and cleanly there. So let's just come in and have a look at the hole there. So you can see there we've got a really nice clean hole. Might just need a tiny, tiny little bit of deburring there, but on the whole, pardon the pun, that was a really nice, quick, clean process. And if we just look here as well, now this is something I really like about this, because back when I were a lad, when I was on site, we used to use a similar tool to this, but it was manual, so you used to do it by hand. And the shape of that cutting part there, that cutting tool, made it really difficult to get the bit that you'd cut away out. It was a real nightmare to do that. So the fact that this just kind of falls out once you've finished is a real bonus for me. Now, let's talk about kind of the hole size here, Jake. So that's a 20mm hole. Do we think that that's probably the best use of the Milwaukee hole punch, to use that to do a 20mm hole?
Probably not, no. I would say probably 22mm is going to be the thing that'd be best for.
Yeah, that'd be quite useful if you're doing a lot of control panels and stuff. And I also think that actually the Milwaukee hole punch is going to be better for doing bigger holes, because obviously you've got to get that 11.1mm hole in the first place. And going from that to 20mm isn't such a huge leap for something like the step cutter. But if we wanted to go up to a much bigger hole like 40mm or 32mm, then obviously it's going to be much more useful in that circumstance. However, we've demonstrated it, we've seen its practical benefit, and we'd now be able to come out of that with a piece of steel conduit or similar. So in this video, we've looked at 3 methods for cutting holes into trunking. Just remind us what those 3 methods were, Jake.
Yes, so we use the step cutter, we use the hole saw, and we also use the Milwaukee hole punch as well.
Excellent. And which was your favourite? Which one do you think produced the best result?
I think the traditional hole saw for me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that actually. I think I'd normally go for the hole saw as well. It leaves that slightly more ragged hole, but you can quickly clean that up.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's much quicker. I think the fact that you've got to put the 12mm bit for the Milwaukee hole punch, for me, means the hole saw wins, yeah. Yeah,
and similar. In certain circumstances, the step cut is fantastic. But again, you're removing all that material, you're cutting it all away, which makes it a little bit less efficient and can take a little bit longer. Yeah. So that's where we've landed. But of course, we always want to hear from you, the viewer. So if you've got any thoughts on this subject, if you've got any questions on it, then please leave those in the relevant section below. And we can absolutely guarantee 100% Jake's faithfully promised that there is no doubt that he will get back to every single one of those for you. So, as always, all that remains in this video is to say,
thank you very much for watching.
I've told you before, I can't work under these conditions.